US dollar begins to pump along with the stock market. Many people are asking themselves, why is Bitcoin initiating a dumping? Let's just say the reason might make you bust. So if you understand that getting dumped on is all part of the game, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to BINGX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, trade, and get over $8,000 in deposit bonuses. And without any further ado, let's completely take a look at Bitcoin right now. On the daily chart, as you can see, Bitcoin is actually having a little itsy bitsy dumpy do. You can see that right here. Well, what is the rest of the markets doing? Well, we see that if we take a look at the DXY, it's actually having its largest upside move since basically March of this year, going from about 100 to right now almost 103. This is the US dollar, the US dollar index. So the US dollar is actually having a move up. What's the stock market doing? Well, the SPX actually, the S&P just set a new record high. And yeah, it's the highest weekly it's ever been. It's the highest daily it's ever been. So new record highs for the stock market. The DXY is also pumping, nowhere near record highs, but it's pumping. You can see the US dollar here even more clearly, kind of bouncing right on the 21-day moving average without even really touching it just about a week ago, or just even a couple days ago. But Bitcoin's actually initiating what we like to call a slight dump. We see that actually Bitcoin right now is right at about the 50-day moving average. It got rejected on the 21-day moving average just 2 days ago, at the beginning of this week. We see momentum on the very, very, very short term, kind of just also agreeing with that. The weekly still looks amazing for Bitcoin. However, yeah, we're actually not at this very second. We still have 4 days, over 4 days until we get a weekly candle close. But the weekly chart for Bitcoin, the weekly candle is actually getting a rejection at the 21 week. Now, this could all change. Like, let's say 2 days from now, this actually pumps and we end up getting a close at the end of the week above it. That's totally possible. But the point is right now, it's actually facing rejection. With the next level of support is right around about 57,000 US dollars at the 50-day moving average. And also, we take a look at this chart, you can see we're quite literally getting rejected. I haven't moved these lines at the very top again of this channel so far. This is big. So I want to talk about where in this pullback Bitcoin actually needs to hold. But because, on the daily chart, you can see, again, the 200-day moving average, Bitcoin only got a few daily closes above it and very quickly went below. This was at the very end of September, beginning of October. And after this most recent rejection on Monday, yet again, Bitcoin could absolutely have a pullback. I mean, it already is having one, but have a pullback down to these lower levels. So looking on the weekly chart, I think the biggest area to look for if we actually, this momentum so far, I mean, it's still, the weekly candle still has about most of the week left over 4 days. So over half of the week left for this to change direction. But realistically, Bitcoin has to hold on the 50-week moving average if this is going to be a bullish breakout over the next couple of weeks. It has to hold at about 57,000. So far, every time we've come down to this level since this reversal began, we have held there. So realistically, if we get a pullback another, let's say $3,000 or $4,000 down to about 57-ish, maybe even mid 56,000s, me personally, I would be entering long positions as many as I could there, like risky ones. I would be piling in at that point if we did, because so far, again, every time we've come down to this 50-week, this has been like a very key bounce level. It happened recently, back at the beginning of August, and it happened exactly at the beginning of September as well. Could it happen towards the beginning or / middle of October? Sure. Because all of these months so far the last few months have actually ended up being relatively good to trade, like enough volatility to trade them, even though it's been pretty overall boring. Weekly chart, again, you can see what the weekly is doing. This candle still has so much left, so you can't make an assumption yet because we have so much of the candle left, but the daily chart for sure is showing us that we're getting a rejection. Now, we had this most recent higher high for the first time, with the lower high being right here. If we go back to end of August, we had this lower high, just like we were having a bunch of lower highs. Our very first higher high was at the end of September, beginning of October. But our low was actually here. Our higher low also was at about 53. It went all the way down to about 52,500. But realistically, I think it's important to try to hold 60 And then if we don't hold 60, 57,000, as I just said, on the multiple time frames would be a great place to bounce. If we don't hold there, I'm just going to be honest, then we could expect more of a bearish retracement and even prolonged dumpiness before we could expect any sort of actual breakout. Now, again, it's still way too early to say any of that. At the time I'm making this, we haven't broke 60, we haven't broke 57, and those are the two key levels that are I think, very important for especially weekly closes. So, I mean, we can't even really know exactly until another 4 days from now, until we actually see how this weekly ends up. I mean, as I said, this weekly could come down to the 50 week right here and hold. It could come down here and then bounce and even go back above the 21 week, all within the next few days. So really, this isn't very significant until we actually see where we actually see the volume come in, where we actually see the bounce. But for now, it's very clear that yes, this is so far a rejection at the 200-day, a rejection more recently at the 21-day, and now it's fighting to stay right here at the 50-day, which is this blue line here. So again, that's also basically right about 57 is exactly where this 50-week moving average is, which is much more important. There's a lot of support here. I mean, really, this is the VRVP on the right side of the screen. If I zoom in, okay, so the VRVP on the right side of the screen here, you can see all of this accumulated volume going back in the history of Bitcoin. The biggest clump right below us is at a little above 57,000 right here. It is basically where Bitcoin topped in the last bull market back in 2021. I mean, it went a little above that, but it didn't get many significant closes, weekly closes, and that's what's really important. But yeah, overall, very important that basically Bitcoin is only a couple $1,000s above where it needs to hold for this to have continued bullish structure. Again, we still have so many days left of this bull market, presumably, and it has not truly started yet, the real breakout. And this is what's crazy too, is that the stock market is looking really good today, whereas Bitcoin was actually pumping the last week or two while the stock market was dumping, and now the stock market is pumping and Bitcoin is dumping. The dollar pumping, I obviously think, is a big part of this. The dollar started pumping back on September 30th, and if we actually look at Bitcoin when it started dumping, right basically on September 30th. So as I just showed here, we have the DXY started pumping about a week and a half ago, and basically right away, or as soon as that started happening, that's when Bitcoin topped out at about 66,500 at the very end of September, beginning of October. So really, I think right now the best metric to kind of look at is to see, okay, well, if the dollar's doing well, Bitcoin's going to get dumped on, and vice versa. If the dollar starts dumping again, say it gets rejected here at a historical resistance at about 103, a little over 103, just slightly above where it currently is, then we can expect Bitcoin to actually start doing well. However, as I keep repeating, at this very time, Bitcoin is actually getting a rejection at this level. Okay, so short term, we're in the middle of a potential shorting opportunity. This could go, as I just said, all the way down a couple $1,000 more at about 57. As I said, that's where I would put in long positions. That's where I would look to. Again, it depends on when it happens, how long it's there, if we get it weekly, daily closes, where they're at. It all depends on where all of these closes are at. But overall, I guess technically it could even bounce within the next day. But honestly, in my opinion, if I'm looking at this on the short term, it looks like a short-term rejection. So in the very short term, as I keep saying, this more looks like a rejection to where we want to see a concrete bottom in the short term, which I would like to see anywhere above 57,000. Anywhere below 57, then I think, hey, pump is on pause, right? We got to wait a little bit. But again, it's still way too early to tell that. We haven't even gotten, this daily candle is about 2% to the downside. But overall, yes, it is getting rejected at this 200-day moving average. It's getting rejected at the 21-week moving average. And as you can see on even the daily chart, it's getting rejected on the 21-day, and it might even, right now it's trying to hold on the 50-day. If it bounces on the 50-day, hey, that's even above 60K, meaning it wouldn't even go below 60. It definitely wouldn't go below 57. So again, it's still way too early to say this is all of a sudden going to get really dumpy. However, it is important to understand where we are, because right now it is kind of there's a chance that we actually have a bigger pullback in just the next few days. And sign up with FEMX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, trade, and get deposit bonuses. And without any further ado,